School as it is right now was designed in the early 1900s. We just haven't changed it at all. What we really want is for our kids to be able to live out their passion and their purpose, and for our kids to be resilient in the face of challenges.
Our students deserve to have those special opportunities. They deserve to have things that other kids in, affluent areas have.
Each of our kids are special. Each of our kids have something to offer the world. And if we continue with a systems first way of doing school, so many of our kids are going to continue to fail.
How do we design school with the kids that are in our schools now and with the communities that we're really working with?
This year is our pilot program, so we're piloting a new school model. This model is not traditional, it's extremely radical.
We were starting to explore, what it might look like to engage in school transformation.
We looked at other school systems, we looked at other districts, we looked at other states. We wanted to look for innovative things that were helping high-need students be successful.
We went through this year-long human-centered design process.
We started with just listening to parents, listening to kids. What were their hopes and dreams? And then building right around that.
Not, the four of us sitting around the table just designing for the community, but really designing with the community after doing a lot of empathy work, having a lot of conversations, focus groups.
We're trying to do some research about why kids don't go to school.
Because school can be boring. It's a lot of work. People don't like to use their brain.
The kids wanted more of a voice in what they were learning. They said, that school doesn't always feel relevant to real life.
When they give you something you're not really interested in it, it's gonna make you not want to do it and want to really participate or put all your effort into it.
I'm a goofy student, so I would want to have a goofy teacher.
I also want the teacher to make learning more fun, because when it gets boring, I get distracted and don't focus at all.
They talked a lot about relationships, and wanting to have relationships with teachers, wanting to have relationships with administrators, wanting relationships with each other.
I want a teacher that I could tell personal stuff to, and we could just talk and get along and they will understand.
Because I want to be like Mr. Cannon and Mr. Buller. I'm trying to be a young principal like my brother is right there.
That process essentially ended in a new school model.
We asked for volunteers, any kids who wanted. Didn't matter if you were part of the Exceptional Children's Program or if you had some discipline issues. If you were interested in being a part of the micro school, we wanted you to be a part of it.
Right now, you're at North Edgecombe High School. This is one of the buildings at North Edgecombe that has been converted into the School of Innovation for the year. This year, the School of Innovation is operating as a micro school pilot with 30 kids. We started the year with 18 8th graders and 12 9th graders. We decided we would bring 18 8th graders over from Phillips Middle School. They're just housed on the campus of North Edgecombe for this year.
Structurally, it's just completely different.
We have houses like American Ninja Warrior, like that show. There's 3 houses, Isabini, Sparrow, and Amistad. With different houses, we do challenges and stuff, and sometimes they give us points on whoever wins the challenges and whatnot.
We try to have a focus on ensuring that kids feel connected as a community, feel connected to an adult.
Every day at the micro school, we start our day in a particular way, and we're going to practice and start that on day 1. And so this is what we call meta moments. Everybody say meta moments. Meta moments. We're going to take some time to be reflective and get centered and connected to where we are.
The purpose of meta moments is just to help them pause and breathe and sometimes literally meditate, but certainly reflect on, where am I? What do I want today? What goals am I going to set? How am I going to achieve them?
That means a lot to a student. That means a lot to an adult.
If you only want me to read it and you're not interested in sharing it, put a star in the top corner.
In my personal life, when I get home, I struggle sometimes. So when we have meta moments in the morning, it helps me reflect on what happened, and it makes me feel better because I know that people care about me here.
You want me to come to class and you want me to be engaged and you want me to pay attention to what you're doing, but my mind is still on what happened last night or this morning. If I don't check in emotionally and socially to be okay, then my day is different.
We know that we have a number of kids who experience trauma at a very profuse rate. But we know that like when kids experience like joy or they experience like empathy, they get the rush of like oxytocin, right? It's that feel good. We have to ensure that kids have a number of experiences in schools where they can experience like joy, where they can feel that, right? Because outside of it, like kids don't have the opportunities to.
Let's go ahead and verbally acknowledge some of those people that we see doing amazing things this week.
I want to shout out Sabrina because she helped me overcome a fear of mine.
I like to affirm Joe for being basically like a big brother to me.
I want to shout out Yari for stepping out of her comfort zone.
We're just taking a different spin on what it means to be an adolescent, that we don't have to say mean things to each other. Saying something positive is a good thing.
Every Wednesday, our students engage in something called the Roses and Concrete curriculum, where we're doing some really deep identity work because we know that if you're going to be resilient, you need to have an understanding of your identity and other people's identities and how that works in the world.
We talk about our identity, so like social economics, your race, your age, what you can do as who you are.
Kids are thinking about like how oppression shows up, going deep and understanding like what makes me a target group, but also like what then also makes me like a dominant group when I stand in that intersection.
This is who I am. This is who I'm becoming.
It's very accepting here.
It's a safe space where people can express themselves and be who they want to be.
We teach using the design thinking model.
What we are going to be using in the micro school is called the design thinking model. So it's like a steps in a process. You need to really understand who you're designing for and why you're designing.
Students engage in what we call passion projects, so we're trying to expose them as much as we can to as many different passions as possible.
We do lots of projects.
One of my favorite projects that we have done so far was about violence. We all chose a different level of violence, and my group chose rape.
We did research about it and how to decrease it.
Getting the opportunity to do projects that basically I like to do. The project that I'm working on now is to actually I'm creating a child's book about homelessness.
In this generation, not everybody's accepting. We wanted to create an account saying like you're in the right place, you are accepted and you are loved. So it's pretty much we're just trying to help people with their identity.
Initially, our vision was there will be no math, science, ELA, social studies class. It's just through projects you will learn everything together. And that's still our vision. But if I'm being honest, we're not there yet. What we learned the first semester was our kids were not getting what they needed for math.
Math is the only content area that this is math class and we do math here. Everything else is incorporated in some type of project. One of our scholars, he's still just he just doesn't like school. He just says he doesn't like school. He says it over and over and over again. And so just this week, I kind of challenged him to take a different direction. They're building tiny houses and they're researching everything and anything that is involved with building a community and a house and sustainability, and he's just not really into it. But I know that he really loves security systems. I was like, well, we're building this community. How could we create a security system? How do we keep it safe? And this kid worked 2 hours straight, researching all these things. He's drawing it out. He's researching what we need to buy, because I'm like, you need to build a prototype now. He's all of a sudden into this thing that's not the project that anybody else is doing. Everyone else is gonna give me a house, but he's gonna give me a security system.
What's up? MJ Beast here. This is Anthony. I'm 15, he's 14. What's up? This is School of Innovation. So the School of Innovation, right? It's awesome. And guess what? Compared to other schools, we drive it.
If we were going to do anything innovative, we obviously had to have great leadership, not just at the school level, but definitely at the classroom level too.
These two teachers, Hillary Braden and Sarah Mann, have really taken a level of ownership over the micro school that we need. I really believe in teacher leadership, and they're doing it.
I trust the people who are doing the work. The hours that they put in to make this successful, that has to be something that's, intrinsic and self-driven.
Teachers, they don't act like they don't care. They always have a smile, and if you get in trouble, they make sure they actually know what happened and they get everybody's story.
And we talk about everything. We're not gonna let something just slide and go away. And I can say this because I have a traditional classroom, right? When I call a kid out in my other class for saying something or using foul language or calling someone something else, it doesn't mean anything. But here, kids actually stop and think about it. This isn't something that happened all year, right? This is something I've noticed just in the past month where kids stop and think oh wow, you're right. That was rude, that was mean. We've looked at the kids from now and where they were last year, even the group as a whole, and they're not getting in trouble, not getting suspended.
I see the progress in my daughter on a daily basis. She's more responsible. She's more in tune with her feelings, her identity, herself.
There are parents that are super happy that their kids are happy. That's all they care about, they're happy. And then there are other parents who are just are they learning what they should be learning?
We do have an emphasis on standards mastery versus just grading itself. Our goal is not just to have kids that are in the micro school and they're earning all A's, but they don't really know what they're learning.
We're looking at all aspects of things that scholars are doing. So if you really look and break down what we're assessing them on, it's their relationships with the community. It's their ability to send an email properly. It's their ability to work well in a team.
We've seen significant increases in attendance and a decrease in disciplinary incidents over the course of the year. Our students are performing on par or better in some cases, particularly in English and in science, than students throughout the district.
We still do have to take a test.
That's who I am. That's who I am. That's who I am. People ready? Tanya, who are you? You're smart. I love it. Lavina, who are you?
I am amazing, cool, and smart.
Okay. Sabrina, who are you?
I'm intelligent, smart, curious every day. Trying to make a living out here every day. Trying to get schooling. Trying to make a living. Trying to get lit, cause I'm about to take a test.
That's my name, MJ. Never the game. Looking at me. About to beat this test like I'm a superhero. Hey, it's my day.
Their resilience in terms of testing is far different. We don't test all the time, but when we do test, they don't freak out.
What we know for sure is our kids feel comfortable, they feel safe, and they feel affirmed. And you really can't learn until you feel those things.
It just feels really nice being here. And I would like for more students to come here or go to a micro school as well because it's so fun and it's so educated.
This can happen in every school, in every classroom, for every child. You dig where you stand, with who you have and with what you have.
What we said was, even if the funding's not there, we're still gonna do it because it's worth it for our kids.
One thing we really want them to leave with is knowing what they love, right? We don't want them to just go to college just to go to college, right? We want them to go knowing that they love something in this world and they want to put a mark on something and they have a plan for how they're going to do that.
We believe that there is no normal, that we're willing to shake the grounds of tradition. We're willing to open a container and reimagine a very different possible future for children.
We just need somebody that's loving, compassionate, understand the teens are coming from in their situations.